I was just going through. Why is this Stream Deck not working? I saw this video and something struck me about it, and I couldn't. And I remember this girl from the 2021 bull run, and then she went into kind of red pill material. I think I don't know. And then I was like, but something's different about her. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe she's got something to say. I don't know.
You know, I think we're probably entering the most dangerous part of the entire crypto cycle. So we've been in a bull run for 2 years. We've hit all-time highs of $126,000 Bitcoin, and the market is slowly coming down. Now, we've done a 30% correction from its all-time high.
Now, did she get a lip job or something? But they all kind of have lip jobs, you know, like I see that as a weird trend. Like anybody ever thinks that looks good, except for her and her sewing circle. Something's off though. Can you pick it up?
And typically, if you look at history, we're actually expected to go into a bear market throughout the entire year of 2026. A slow bleed, that's what I've been saying. However,
I figured it out. I know it's different. This is different than last. She didn't have those big plants in her background there. She didn't have those big plants. Those are new. Those plants are new. Seeing the big plant, she didn't have those that last bull run. Now we got some economic data here to rock everyone's world. It was inflation came in as expected, and so of course we're just stuck in this channel. Look at this channel. This channel is insanity. Yeah, James, I think she did have a new lapel mic too. Something, I knew it as, you don't look in the background, your eyes are kind of don't gravitate towards the background, right? And then you realize the tree, the fern, whatever, what have you, that's different. I knew something was different. And so what do we do here with this price action? I was looking at like the outflows. This is kind of bizarre. Like, yeah, okay, so yesterday we had 116 in, okay? Or not yesterday, January 11th, 2 days ago. But leading up, like last week, out 250, out 500, out 520, out 250. So when you really think about that, all that outflows and the price really just stuck there. There's almost like a divergence there. And I've been watching some Bitcoin content, and they talk out of both sides of their mouth, right? So I've noticed that they say things like they gaslight on one side about price suppression. They'll be like, if you think the price is being suppressed, well, you just don't know how economics works. I mean, it's just as simple as for every buyer, there's a seller. And if there's more buyers than sellers, the price goes up. And if there are more sellers than buyers, the price goes down. It's just as simple as that. And I feel like that's the economic gaslighting. And then in the same speech, out of the other side of their mouth, they'll say things like, the price will be kept here until they're ready to unleash the market. Well, hold on a second. That would infer that there's a suppression to keep the price at the level it is. So what is it? Is it sellers and buyers just drive the market? It's simple supply and demand? Or can market makers keep the price at a certain level? You can't have both. It can't be like a free market with market makers suppressing the price, if it is. Now, there's a certain degree of cope that comes into a market like this. You start, it's like an existential crisis of faith when the market doesn't move. You're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to make of it. So we end up like creating scenarios. But to me, it comes down to simple, like your lying eyes, right? Don't believe your lying eyes. someone can tell me all they want that if there's more sellers than buyers, the price will go down. If there's more buyers than sellers, the price will go up. But after 2025, I don't know. There's always things that take me off the highway. You know, back in the currency trading days, it was stop hunters that made me quit, and other things. But that was like the final straw was the stop hunters. It's like, really, every single stop I have gets stopped out, every single one. Like, I wanted to have like two setups. I wanted to have one screen with like me, and then open another account with another, and have different stop losses just to see if my screen would be the same. Because it's like, either I'm the most predictable stop loss putter-inner, or they're just hunting them. Because it would be like every time there was a stop loss, it would wick down and knock it out. I'm like, I'm out of it. This is stupid. Now I'm the dummy, right? If I keep on making these trades, and of course there's lots of data points when you're currency trading, because you're in and out. We're talking about the 5-minute scalp chart, right? Sometimes you'll just go blink, and you'll get your they'll buy you in, and then they'll stop you out or take your profit right away. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to they're going to stop loss you. It's like, really, right down to the actual stop loss. Like, that's where the whole market went down to, is my stop loss. I'm that good at predicting where the market's going to go against me. So that got me out. So 2025 has also been one of those reckonings where it's like, like I was watching that Michael Saylor video. Couldn't get on Arena today. It screwed up. It was too bad. We'll try again tomorrow. That where he flips out on that guy, whoever, or what Bitcoin did guy. And then I thought, this used to be Peter McCormick. And now it's like the camera guy, from what I know. And I didn't watch it that much because Peter McCormick was a little bit of a woke libtard back in the day. And I think he's changed, because reality will change people out of that. But that's the reason I didn't watch it. But I knew he had a cameraman, Danny. He'd always say, well, what does, I mean, that's what Danny does. Right. And then you'd hear this voice. So now Danny is the interviewer, and then Peter McCormick does his own thing. Anyway, you know where Michael Saylor's freaking out on him. It was almost uncomfortable. It was like you were, witnessing a dad in the mall yelling at their kids. You're like, what do I do here? I guess I just watch it. So I watched it. But I don't even know what I was talking about there with Michael Saylor. Oh, yeah. With Michael Saylor, like in 2025, endless inflows, endless buys. Like, you couldn't dream of more buys in 2025. And then we all remember like the first kind of capitulation event in March or April of last year, where it was nothing but massive inflows and the price would dump, right? And then there was the wash trading of these massive funds. Well, we're going to sell this much, so here you go. So there was a certain degree of that. But, like, to me, I don't know if we'll ever see that type of inflow again. So it was a weird, do you actually believe that, say, the whales were smart enough to know, oh, this is it. This is the last chance we're going to be able to dump this much. And they just dumped it. I just don't think they're that smart. I always thought they're just real lucky, like early adopters, and lost their keys or something. Because, I mean, it's one thing to buy early. It's another to hold long, right? So there was that time back in 2010 where we had a poker company called S&M, Custom Poker Tables. And we were succeeding despite our own stupidity and party appetite. We were in Vegas every 2 weeks, just living it up, right? But we had an opportunity to buy Bitcoin there. It was like the simulation offered it just on the slides, like, hey, you guys want to buy some Bitcoin? And it came in the form of someone trying to put in a Bitcoin ATM in a bar. And the offer was, if you let me put this Bitcoin ATM in here, I'll give all the staff, 5 Bitcoin or something like that. But at the time, my business partner and I would have been like, well, how much is 1,000 Bitcoin? It's like, at that point, 2010, it could have been $1,000, or 5,000 or 10,000, whatever, right? We would have done it, but we didn't. It would just came and went, right? But now, had we bought 1,000 Bitcoin back in 2010 when it was offered, we would have sold it at 10K. If we bought it at 1,000 and it went up to 10,000, we would have sold it because we didn't know. We didn't get in. We wouldn't have got in there with the ethos and the philosophy and the knowledge of the technology, or even the economic wherewithal intellectually to understand what the hell we were even holding. So if I have to give kudos to whales, it's just the fact that they held for so long. But then where I go against it, it's like, are you telling me you held for 15 years just to sell into US dollars or Tether? It seems a contradiction of philosophies, to have everything that Bitcoin provides you, privacy, off the grid, so to speak. If you even want to go there, but I'll poke holes in off the grid. It's like we're coming to terms now. Part of the platform that Bitcoin, the hill we all stand on, is that we're like, no, it's not for criminals. In fact, you can see every transaction you've ever done. Can you? So everything I've ever done online is on the blockchain. Forever. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I like that. It's almost like it goes against my yearning for privacy. So we wrestle with that, right? We wrestle with that whole aspect of it. But, is that what they did? They held for 15 years just to dump it into US Tether, or they're sitting with a complete CBDC of some sort. But then I was thinking, I was going to ask Drew this today, Drew and Kelly on their show, about their greatest fear in Bitcoin. What is their greatest fear? And because mine isn't Bitcoin going to zero. My biggest fear is that somehow I've been a pawn in the architecture of a CBDC, if you know what I mean. And if you don't know what I mean, I guess I'll explain it. When you think about what has the education process, that would be the worst, right? So let's just say that the infrastructure, let's go back to one of these conspiracies where, it's the NIA or the CIA, where, we'll just set it out here. We'll just create the genesis, kind of like they do with every big company, right? They taxpayer funded black op, get the technology, then they insert like a figurehead who's now the CEO of this thing. Is kind of like a unremarkable retard, but that's how you do it, right? And then they just let it out in the public, see if it catches on. And then if it does catch on, we'll let the public build it, at their own peril, right? We'll let them do it. And then next thing you know, someone like me pops on and starts doing videos for 4 years, creating the infrastructure, selling the idea, just to find out that maybe it was, after all, the, initial architecture of a CBDC. Because sometimes I wrestle with the whole aspect of the privacy, everything that I've ever done on that ledger is just basically as transparent, right? That's what we all preach. It's transparent. It's on the blockchain. It's forever. It's immutable. Those are also scary things, if you really think about it. Do you want everything you've ever done. Like, how different is it than a CBDC when you really think about it? You know, like when we villainize CBDCs, we're like, well, they'll know everything you've ever spent your Bitcoin on, every exchange. They'll know everything you did. You know, in fact, like they'll be able just to go and check your wallet whenever they want. And you're like, that's horrible. CBDCs, that's, you know, digital slavery. And then you kind of think about Bitcoin and its attributes that we champion. Oh, it's immutable. It's on the blockchain. It's transparent. Everyone, you know, it's like, but isn't that exactly what the CBDC is? That this is where the existential crisis comes in, right? With price not moving, you end up, you know, doing some extra thought on stuff. Isn't that exactly what we hate about a CBDC? Isn't that exactly what we villainize about a CBDC? Is immutability, the no privacy. It's there forever. It's on the ledger. You can't do anything. And then, of course, my final fear is that the one Bitcoin ethos, Wispy 87, is that I looked at the comment section and I screwed it up. Let me think here. What was I going to say before I looked at the comment section? Oh, it was a good one too. It was a good one. It kind of summed it all up here. That's why it's like I can't look at the in this cockpit, this live stream cockpit, I can't look at things for too long. I gotta free ball it, or else I get stuck in the system. So I guess that thought's lost. Oh yeah, the ledger, right? That's it. So the Bitcoin ethos is don't trust, verify, right? But at the end of the day, there's a couple of intellectual pay grade dead ends that I it's beyond me, you know, how the cold storage works, right? Now, if I were to describe it to someone, it's like, you know, it's like a thumb drive. And it's just, you know, you connect it to your computer and it's the code, you know, it's not really a Bitcoin, sits there. And then if some dummy was like poking holes, like uninterested, well, I mean, what do you don't think they have a back door to it? Like, well, no. Well, why don't you think that? Well, did you like verify that it doesn't? Well, no. Well, so how do you know then? Well, I don't. I'm just trusting and not verifying. Because, you know, for all I know, you know, between the ledger and the cold card, what do I know about the architecture of it? And then, you know, you'll have people in a higher pay grade than me saying, well, I mean, it's open source. It's like, well, is it open source? I don't really know. Nor did I care that much. Or do I even understand what the attributes of open source cold storage is? Right? These are all above my intellectual pay grade. Right? That makes me, I'm the trusting dummy. Right? And what like really, it's just this, you know, a ledger. It's just a ledger. Cold card is just a piece of technology that you don't really understand. It's like my iPhone, right? How does it work? I don't know. If it were ever to break, how would you fix it? I wouldn't. I'd go to a kiosk in some mall and ask the East Indian guys that are running the kiosk, hey, can you fix this? Yes or no? No? Okay, bye. I got a new one. But in this case, you don't want anything to happen to these cold storages. John Locke 6905, Ledger is not open source, Trezor is. Yeah, okay. But at this, okay, this is where my intellectual road ends. Okay. But even if it is, even if you were to say Ledger is open source, well, okay, well, now what? It's like, it's not going to make me sleep better because I don't even know how that would benefit or not benefit the technology. If it's open source or not open source. It's just, I don't know that stuff, right? If you do, I don't know. Start a channel and talk about open source cold storage and the benefits of it. But these are the things that happen when price is just doing nothing, right? You start having existential crises of faith. You start wondering, what the hell's going on? What have I done? Where am I? Where are we? Where are we in this big old cycle? Patrick Rushing, backdoor narrative, just FUD. Okay. I guess I'll just trust what you say. It comes out all the time. But one thing I've learned since 2020 is that I never underestimate the malevolence or the evil that some humans will do to other humans. I'll never underestimate it again. E-money, how does suppressing price benefit them? Wouldn't it be better for the price to go nuts and be on the news every night? Well, yeah, I agree, right? But you have to, for me anyway, the way I kind of suss this out is that there's different games being played. You know, like our game is almost a survival game, right? It's like, to a lot of people in this community, Bitcoin goes to zero, let's just say. A lot of people will be, have an existential crisis and economic future, let's just say, because the time is spent accumulating for it to, go to zero or whatever. But let's just, we won't even go to zero. So the other game that's being played by these people, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just, to them, it's a new bike. It's a new product on the shelf. Let's try it out. How can we, they're not going to get into something that they can't really control. If you think about it, like, they don't want to be at the mercy of a technology that can get away on them or not them. So right now, I think they're exercising their strategies. Can we control the price? Are we capable of it? Can we do the same old things that we've done for gold and silver? Through Bitcoin, can we? And then they're trying out. And then if we go into the other game, let's say they do want to. I've always said that if they're coming for it all, right? They're not coming for some. And you can see that with their appetite for buying. IBIT 700 Bitcoins, Michael Saylor 600. You know what I mean? They're not dipping their toe, but in at the same time, with the amount of money they have, it is a little bit of a toe dip. But to compare our philosophy and what it can do for us to their philosophy and what it can do for them, it's two different games. So we're trying to understand the what ifs of a hedge fund with $10 trillion under management is a little different gameplay and strategy and theory than me. So to take what I think and how the market works and put it on an industry that I don't even understand how their industry works, or what their end game is. That's where my pay grade goes. Crystal South, open source just means the code is public, so it can be verified by people who know code. Okay. I guess if you know code, if you understand the code, you can sit there and, oh, hold on, let me check this code. Oh yeah. It looks like the code's checking out. So how many out of 1,000 people can verify the open source code? One out of 1,000, 100 out of one. I think 100 out of 1,000 is pretty high. However, I think Mr. Dinkles, that's a good point. It gets scrutinized pretty quick. The people in the know would know and sound the alarm. But at the same time, it just means a lot of people are relying on a small group of people, right? It's almost what we don't want too. That goes back to some sort of bizarre centralization almost. Gets scrutinized pretty quick. Yeah. Laserface, you just need one AI. Yeah, even AI, like I've used AI enough to know that I can bully it into anything. And when it comes to answering questions, I just keep telling them they're wrong, do it again, and they come up with a new answer or a hallucination. They're trying to, they're not so much trying to get the right answer as to get my right answer. And until that stops, we'll know I'm almost leaning towards AI being a massive data gathering psyop. It's everything I still believe everything you've ever typed in, every website you've ever been on or looked at is in a database already. But I think AI will make it an unstoppable database of instant. If we go back to Enemy of the State with Will Ferrell, whatever, the black guy, and Gene Hackman, there was still nerds on computers like, well, I'll figure it out. Just give me a couple hours. I'll do it. Right. And they did it back there. And now with AI, it's just going to be like, well, let's see what Chadwick did the past 10 years. Chadwick, click, bump. There it is. So the instantaneousness of it will be pretty scary. Pretty scary. Chadwick says, I can't wait until my state-sanctioned AI tells me what actually is reality. Yeah, to a certain degree, because there'll come a point where you will get comfortable with whatever AI says, unless you trick it, right? So, I've gone on multiple AIs to ask the Kager questions, right? To see if they come up with different answers. The diminishing Kager video that nobody watched. To me, that's the scariest video I think on the internet. So I went to a bunch of different AIs just to double check. Do they come up with this? Is this math right? Is the math wrong? And all of them came to the same one. So yeah, I don't know. At the same time, I don't do the math in my head. If you've ever watched Grok analyze the Kager, it's like Goodwill Hunting. Well, you just 1 over x over the pi, then divided by 0.01, and then you get it. Oh, okay. I'm glad you showed me your work, Grok. I can understand it, right? And then you say you got it wrong. So what I would do is I would challenge each AI. You got it wrong. Double check and triple check. And then they would. And they all came up with those same numbers. So I hope I'm wrong. I would hate for that video that nobody watched to be the most true Bitcoin video ever made. Now I understand that why people would not want to hear what's in that video. But hey, if there's one thing I've kind of tried to maintain in this channel is I don't speak, what I want. I just speak what I see, right? And that's one of the scarier things is what I see is the diminishing Kager. But we're still early. I mean, you have to look at it this way. If Bitcoin is going to be around for the next 50 to 100 years, we're so early. We don't even know what we don't know. We're making all these cycles up based on, it's like looking at a toddler and going, well, this toddler is going to be 6 feet and he's going to have blonde hair and blue eyes for sure. Yeah. Well, look at what a year ago, he didn't have any hair, right? And his eyes were the same color as every newborn. Now they're kind of blue and he's grown an inch. So, yeah, for sure. And next year, in 20 years, he's going to be 6'2". Yeah, we can tell. We have enough. We can see this enough. Give me a toddler. I'll tell you what they're going to look like in 20 years. So that's where we are in Bitcoin. As much as we do know, we've kind of captured most of the knowledge, except where it came from, of course, and who originated, of course. Yeah. Oh, there's that. Yeah. I think it's a funny thing that everybody looks over. It's part of the grand myth right? The grand foundation and origin myth of Bitcoin is one of the mystics that keeps the slight veneer of mystery about it moving forward. Because I don't think, if we knew who or where Bitcoin came from, I don't think we would be in it. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this video.